Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So you may be able to hear it a little bit. I feel like I'm sick again. I feel like I just got sick recently and I'm sick again. And I got sick like last week and I tested for COVID just in case and it was negative. And then today I just kept having this feeling that I had COVID because I couldn't taste anything and I got COVID. So I tested positive today for COVID, which sucks, but I mean 2 years in the pandemic and I just got COVID for the first time today or this week. So I guess that's a win. So I guess this TBR is brought to you by my COVID result. I haven't had a lot of time to film, so now that I'm working from home during my lunch break, I am currently filming this. So yeah, this TBR is a little late. Today's December 6th, so like I said, it's a little late, but I just wanted to share the books that I'm planning on reading in December. It's a really nice TBR that I got for myself, so I just wanted to share the books that I'm planning on reading this month. So like I said, we're a week into December, so I've already read one of these books, and that is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. Like I said, I just finished this one and this is a mystery thriller. I wanted to pick this up because it was a book of the month pick, and also it was nominated for Goodreads Choice Awards, so I wanted to read it by the end of the year. Like I said, this is a mystery thriller and our main character is a psychologist and her father is actually put away for murder because he's a serial killer, and then in present time they believe there's sort of like a copycat killer who is kind of targeting her, like people that she knows and stuff like that. It was really good. Not my favorite mystery thriller of the year. That is still The It Girl by Ruth Ware, but I did really enjoy it. So yeah, that was a book that I wanted to read in December and I did. Next up, I have the Cozy Hollow book club pick for December, and that is Apple Cider Slaying by Julie Ann Lindsay. I will be reading this like closer to the end of the month because I've read a lot of cozy mysteries in November, so I need a little bit of a break. I need different things right now, but I will be reading this for Cozy Hollow. And from what I know, this cozy mystery is kind of set in this farm where they do apple cider, and I guess like the owner, she has a nemesis and they find her nemesis dead in the apple, what is it called, the apple press, which sounds kind of gory. But yeah, that is what Apple Cider Slaying is about. I'm excited to read this one. Yeah, I'm hoping to read this like Christmas time. Like, I'm ready for this. And then if you've been around here, you know that I'm participating in this year-long reading challenge that is hosted by a local bookstore here in Cleveland called Loganberry, and it's basically called Broaden Your Bookshelf, and basically that's the point, to broaden your bookshelf. And they have like a whole bunch of prompts for each quarter. So for this quarter, I need to read like 2 more books, and one of those books is to read a book that is 500 pages or more. I don't think any of the other books on my TBR count for this, so I decided to pick up Orange, the Complete Collection. This was also one of the picks for my video of books that I want to read in 2022, and I still haven't read it. It's December 2022. Haven't read this one. This is a manga, and yeah, I don't know why I haven't picked this up yet because it should be a pretty quick and easy read. I don't know much about the plot of this one, but I know it's kind of like a slice of life type of manga. I'm sure someone's gonna die in this manga, but it seems like very coming of age story, slice of life type of book, so I'm excited to read it. And then for that same year-long reading challenge, I'm planning on reading And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, and this is to read for the prompts for a book published in '94 or like the 90s. I don't remember exactly when this was published, but this is pretty old. And then this is also for read a classic that we've always been curious about, which I don't read a lot of classics, so this would be the one that I read. And then also a banned book. This is also banned in some states, so yeah, I've never read an Agatha Christie before, so I'm super interested. This is like the most classic mystery thriller out there, and I know a book that I recently read, I can't remember the name of it now, Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, is kind of a retelling of this, and basically it's like all of these people, I don't know if they're family in this book, but all of these people going to this island and then they're kind of killed off one by one, and it's kind of like an isolated remote island, so they can't get to nobody. I'm super excited, love this cover, and yeah, I've never read an Agatha Christie before, so I feel like I have to. The queen of mystery, I must. Next up, I have a reread of a book. I hope that I get to this, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I read this maybe like 2 years ago now, but the sequel, Hellbent, is coming out in January, so I really want to pick it up and reread it and have it fresh in my mind for January to read Hellbent. And this one is sort of a mystery thriller, also dark academia type of book, and it follows this woman. Her name is Alex Stern, and she's kind of had like a rough life. She's kind of involved in the drug scene, a whole bunch of dead-end jobs, and she's actually the sole survivor of a mass murder. And at her hospital bedside, she's pretty much offered like a full ride to go to Yale, and you would wonder why, because she doesn't really seem like the smart girl that would get a full ride to Yale, and that is because she can see ghosts. Basically, this power of her makes her really special because Yale has like these secret societies and they need to keep them safe, and because she can see ghosts, she's able to do that kind of security for them. But yeah, it's very cult-ish. There's magic in this, and Darlington is all I have to say. Yeah, it's really good. This is also a sort of horror, I would say, too, but I really like this book and I want to reread it soon. Next up, I have a historical fiction. I feel like always around December I want to read some sort of historical fiction, and I have The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell, and she is the author of Hamnet, which I haven't read but I was interested in. And yeah, this one follows this woman. Her name is Lucretia, and I think she's like the second or third daughter of the king. So she's just kind of chilling in court because she doesn't really have many responsibilities because she's not in line for the throne. But then one day randomly her sister dies, so she's kind of pushed into this whole world that she never even thought that she'd have to, because she just thought that like her sister would take over the throne and it would never be her turn, and that's not something that she really wanted. So she's kind of thrusted upon the throne and this marriage that she doesn't want and all of these things, and it sounds really good. I'm really excited. I forget what this era, 1550s. I'm really excited to read this. It sounds like a really beautiful novel, and yeah. Alrighty, next up I have Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. And I don't know much about the plot of this one, but this one has been compared to like a mix of A Court of Thorns and Roses and Bridgerton, because I think it has like court and royalty from like the Bridgerton vibes, and then also this is about fairies, so that's why the ACOTAR comparison is in there. I'm really excited to read this. This is a series, and obviously this is the first one, and I'm just really excited. I think I saw this on Kaylin Abridged channel, and I just really wanted to read it, so hopefully I get to this and I'll let you know if it's any good. Next up, I have a book that came out like a couple weeks ago, and I had no idea this book even existed, and that is Gleanings by Neil Chesterman. And I think this has a whole bunch of authors in here. Actually, it's not just him. Yeah, it's a collaboration, so it has a whole bunch of authors, and this is kind of like a novella sequel. I don't know where it lands on the ARC Scythe. It might be like 3.5, I'm not too sure. But if you don't know, this is a novella of stories that are set in the world of the arc of Scythe, and the first book in the series is called Scythe by Neil Schusterman, and then there's Thunderhead, and then there's The Toll. And Scythe is pretty much the book that got me back into Bookstagram and BookTube a couple of years back, so I'm really excited to read this. I love this world, and if you don't know, Scythe, it's basically a dystopian book, and it follows these two young people. Gosh, I can't remember their names anymore, but it's a boy and a girl. I think her name was Citra and Rowan. It follows Citra and Rowan, and basically they're the apprentices to this Scythe. And in this world, there are scythes because all disease has been cured. Nobody really dies, so they have to control population some way. So they have these people that are scythes that go around and kill people, and there are good scythes and there are not so good ones. And basically our two main characters are kind of apprentices, but kind of only one can be a scythe. It's a whole thing, but it's a really, really good series, and I'm really excited to dive back into this world and read these stories. And if you didn't know, this is a thing that came out like 2 weeks ago, so I'm really excited to read it. The next one, I'm not gonna lie, I know nothing about this, but I really want to read it, and this is another historical fiction, and that is The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. Jojo Moyes wrote that really popular book called Me Before You. And that one is more like romance. It's not historical fiction at all, but this one is. And from what I know, this is set in Depression era America, and it follows 5 different women, and it's, I don't know if all of their stories kind of connect, but I know it's kind of like a journey type of story to Kentucky. But that's most of what I know about this book, to be honest. But I know that it has to do a lot with women and like their friendship, and I'm excited to read this hopefully in December. Alright, last two. I had to add this to my TBR because I've heard so much about it recently. I know I originally heard about this book from my friend Sarah from Caffeine and Pages, and then more recently Keisha from A Book Like You has been raving about this book. So, and that is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Putting this book up on the frame, I just realized I have no idea what this book's about. I think it is young adult, and I'm assuming this is a mystery thriller. It's given me like body horror, what's that one book, Wilder Girls vibes, like Rory Power vibes, but I don't know anything about this book. I should probably read the back, huh? I like read that and I still don't know. This seems to be very magical realism. So basically our main character, Signa. Yes, Signa. She was orphaned and now she's 19 years old, and basically all of her caretakers kind of mysteriously die, and she does have some relatives, but they're very like weird, I guess. I don't know, they have like an estate or something, and somebody dies at this estate and she has to go over there and kind of figure out who is killing people. Not sure, but it does talk about death and kind of like a deal with death or something. I don't really know, but I'm excited to read it because I've heard so many good things about this book. Okay, and last but not least, I had to add one holiday book. Well, I guess a second one because Apple Cider Slaying, it's on here. But I have The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. I don't know much about this book, but I've never really read like a Christmassy book during Christmas time. I always felt like these books were a little bit corny, but I feel like I've gotten more into Hallmark movies and all of that more recently, so I feel like I may enjoy this. But this one pretty much to me kind of sounds like The Princess Switch. So it's basically about these two twin sisters, and obviously set during the holidays, and for some reason they like switch lives. And I love the Princess Switch movies with Vanessa Hudgens, so I'm really hoping that this gives those vibes. I don't think this is like royal at all. Weirdly enough, this follows a baker, and the Princess Switch also has like a baker character, and I guess basically they're both kind of like in the baking business, and one of them like owns and runs a baking company, and the other one is supposed to be competing, and for some reason one of them can't taste or smell, which is me right now. And I guess for some reason they switch places because one of them has to compete. I don't really know, but obviously it's set during the holidays, and one of them just went through a breakup, so that's gonna sound like a fun a fun time. But yeah, the holiday swap, we'll see when I read this, and hopefully I enjoy it. Alrighty, so those are all the books that I want to read in the month of December. Don't hold me accountable because I am traveling in literally like 2 weeks. The last like 2 weeks of December I'm not gonna be here in Cleveland, so I don't know how many books I'm taking or reading or anything, so yeah. Alrighty, I have a whole bunch of really fun content, like end of the year content, like favorite books of the year, worst books of the year, and all of that. So I'm really excited for all of that content, and I hope that you are too. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!